Today is an epically day. Everything's frozen. I ordered the water stuff. I'm just hoping my freaking cistern isn't just a block of ice out there right now. Which is distinctly possible because it's like less than half full and it had ice on the top of it yesterday. I hit it and I could hear the ice inside. So it's not the end of the world. I can go drive and pick up IBC of water. And I could bring that back and pump the trailer full and throw the rest in there for it to freeze again, I guess. But if that thing freezes solid, it's almost like I should frickin' just dump it now and move it now before I can't. Because if that thing turns into a block of ice, I mean, there's already ice in it, but if it turns into like, hundreds of gallons worth of ice, I can't move it and I'll ruin it or something moving it. So it's supposed to actually crawl up above freezing some of these days coming up, but I don't know if that's like literally enough not freezing to thaw. So yeah, I mean, I have once I move the tank and I get it filled up, I don't think it'll freeze because I'm gonna put a pump in there and the pump's gonna circulate it so it won't freeze. So I have a plan. Now, worst case scenario, I might actually have to just buy another one of those tanks and bring it out here and just, just kind of I had to do it because, and I get it for $1,100 in Portland or $1,300 out here. And here's only like not even a 2-hour drive versus Portland is like a 9-hour drive. So I could run in and grab another one and spend $1,300. Ugh, spending so much money is just killing me if worse comes to worse. So, I mean, I have options. I just hope I don't get all this stuff situated and then it gets so cold it just ends up freezing the trailer up anyway. But I have a plan, like piping. I've talked about this, piping the generator exhaust underneath the trailer, or even throwing some sort of heat source under there too. That's going to be a lot of power though. So, I don't know. We'll see. Oh, today is an epically day. Everything's frozen. The water tank's frozen. The way I hook up to the bottom, the valve was frozen on the back side, so I had to pump out of the top. I had to knock holes in the top of the ice to be able to get a hose down in there. I went to dump the gray water. The gray water valve's frozen, so this is what I'm trying to do right now. I don't know if that's gonna work, but the water ran pretty low, and so it's taken me hours. I don't even know what time it is right now. Look at the sun. It's probably I've probably been out here like 3 hours trying to pump water and deal with everything. I had to get the backhoe and get the water tank, the little IBC, and I went to put the valve that I bought for it on there, and well, the guy sold me the wrong valve. So, and it was frozen to the ground. The backhoe almost didn't start. Like literally the battery was so close to being dead, and then just at the last second it started. So, I don't know. This is I mean, I thought I had this whole underside freezing thing taken care of, but I just tried to run the water and the water's stopped running. I got that generator pumping underneath the trailer, and it has, let me see if it's raised the temperature. It's raised the temperature by 2 degrees in about 6 or 7 minutes. Aha! My water's working again. Just that little nudge of extra temperature takes a little bit. So it looks like the next thing I'm gonna have to look for is under trailer heating system. I think I'm just gonna go buy a thing to put the generator in and vent it underneath, because that's okay. Stop running the water because I'm gonna run out if I keep running the fucking water. I was gonna keep filming these days pumping water. I mean, it's just like, okay, I'm pumping water. I don't need to keep filming it over and over, but I mean, it's just getting to the point where this is like what I do. What do you spend your time doing? Oh, I pump water. Like, takes me most of the day. So, yeah. I wanted to get at this with the backhoe today and get this pad ready for where I'm going to move the tank. Just the timing on that. It's like, do I just drain it now so I can move it and start to worry about, you know, filling it up and all that, and then plumb all the stuff when it shows up? But where do I get water if I dump it? I mean, I literally can pump that thing full, a couple 100 gallons, and then dump the rest, and then move it, and then pump that into it, and get that, and then I'll have a couple 100 gallons. But I'm running out of daylight. I don't know. I just want to dump the gray tank. If I can get the gray tank dumped, I'll feel like I got something accomplished today. In an entire day. At this rate, I don't know if I'm going to make it out here or not. I got to go buy so much to make it. And there's just the reward in winning the battles. It's like if I was going down south and checking out, I'd be like on an adventure and going and doing stuff and seeing stuff. Right here, it's just like battling for minimal, I mean, just working and just battling just to have water, just to be able to dump the sewer, just to, you know, I mean, it's brutal. But I just spent another $800, so I guess I'm committed. And yeah, I don't know. This is just, it's a rough day today. It's a real rough day. Okay, back again. This is just like one continuous video about it being really cold outside and me, well, it's, you know, preparing, but I would have literally done nothing if the trailer wouldn't have froze. I mean, you know, like, why bother? I react to problems. I try to foresee problems, but I don't know what the problems are to come. Just colder colds, I guess. So tonight is one of those nights I've talked about before, how it kind of goes down to a temperature lower for like 1 or 2 nights. That gives me a taste of what that lower temperature is like, right? And it's done this now like 3 times distinctively. And the first was 25. The second was 18 and 19, 2 nights in a row. And now it's getting all the way down to where the feels like, so I guess that's wind chill, is like 5 degrees. So it's only 7:15, but you know, 7:15, 3 hours after the sun went, feels late, right? So it feels late. I'm debating, and I've been debating for like an hour or longer about putting the generator back underneath where I had it earlier. The biggest thing I'm kind of debating is whether, because when I did it earlier, the sun was shining on the propane tank. The propane tank was not involved in any, it was not getting heat. It was just sitting out there. The sun was beating on it, so it was fine. That's not going to be the case. I have to keep the propane tank that's serving the generator somewhat. I can't just have it sitting out in, it froze up at like 25. I think that was like the first thing I learned, was that the propane freezes up at that temperature, which I'm really starting to freak out because I'm losing temperature inside of the trailer. I'm losing temperature, right? Like, in other words, it says it's 67 up there, it was just 68. The heater hasn't turned off. those tanks on the front, those can freeze up as well. So, but the saving grace with, there's two of them. So if one freezes up, the other one can still go. But if they both freeze up, then you know. And that might be the lessons I'm learning now, is that although the tanks on the trailer I've never had a problem with, but the heater just isn't keeping up at this temperature. I mean, it's just not. The heater hasn't turned off for an hour, which I've never heard it run like that before, continuously, just never turning off. That I've literally, and it's able to keep the bedroom and I just lost a degree underneath the trailer. So at this point, it's like, if I just go out and I have the generator in the back of the truck, like I have been, I think I am at risk of the trailer freezing up underneath. I mean, it did technically freeze up underneath today during the day. I mean, the water wasn't working, and I had to put the generator under there to blow heat. It worked really good though. I mean, it literally, like in no time. I didn't check the final temperature because I didn't want to come all the way inside just to look at the temperature for my own curiosity, but literally in a short amount of time it went from 26 degrees up to 30 degrees. And then I left it for another, I used the backhoe to clear the area where I'm going to move the tank, and while I was doing that I left, so I maybe left that under. It could have been all the way up to like 33 or 36 or something like that by the time I turned it off. But by the time I got back inside, it was back down to 26 again. So right now it's down to 22. At 19 it freezes. So I got 3 more degrees, and it is 12 hours from the, so I got 12 more hours of the temperature dropping. It's gonna be, feels like it says it's 23 degrees right now, which is pathetic because underneath the trailer says 22. So it's colder underneath the trailer than it is outside, although this is not the most accurate because it's not right here. It's 30 minutes away from here, but it's close. Feels like it's 12 though. So if I go by that number, then I'm beating it by 10 degrees. The low is going to be 17, but it's going to feel like it's 5. I get all suited up because, like, putting on that whole pile of clothes right there is what it takes to go outside. It's a huge pile of clothes. And then wrestling, mainly it's what I haven't really got. I'm like, how to get the propane tank in there, the generator in there, without having the propane tank like right in front of the exhaust. You know, that's sketchy, especially if it's under the trailer. And then so I have this one hay that I pull out of the way to get to the dump valves, right? So I've got this one piece of hay, or excuse me, straw that's standing up on end that I just pull out that exposes that section. Well, perfect. I can that's the size of the generator. That's where I put it today. I might have filmed that. Smaller tank will make it easier to stash. Yeah, it's very cold right now. So, what I want to do, I want to get the tank up in there like this. All right. So, I would say that this is a little dangerous with all this stuff that could land on the hot exhaust. It's not that complicated. It's just getting the propane tank. Like, the propane sticks in the side, so I mean, it's a little wonky trying to get that propane. I wish I had like a 4-foot hose, and all my problems would be solved. The little 2-foot hose is just such a pain in the butt. So anyway, I have an extensions coming, but I think that's what I have to do right now. Is I have to put all these clothes on and go. Although I'm half tempted to go start the generator in the back of the truck, because I forgot to drain the damn pump. So the pump's full of water. It's not, I'm gonna have to freaking thaw it and then drain it. That's just what I'm gonna. Yeah, that's not good. That's gonna be a nightmare tomorrow. Well, I guess I'll just pull the generator out from underneath the trailer, throw it back in the back of the truck for, an hour. And then I'll have everything to work with water again. It's on order. I was gonna empty the tank today, but I just was like, if I empty it today, then I'm stuck with this other tank, and I'm just kind of waiting until I get all the stuff. And then, but there has to be something said. Like, literally, I could dump it and move, but the weather's changing up. Like, literally, today's the worst, and then it goes back to not freezing during the days for like 10 days straight. So that gives me 10 days of back to normal, not this just insane cold, and I can get all that stuff done, and the tank won't be frozen up, hopefully, and everything will go a lot smoother. And then I'll get everything ready, and then the weather will go down, and then this will be the norm. This super cold. God, it's so cold. Like, the camera's been in the bag, and the camera's like, I'm holding it without this thing, and the camera's cold, literally, which is. Anyway, so yeah, there's just a more cold update. This is just the ongoing drama of the cold in the RV. At this point, I still haven't bought any bullshit, like, just to make it RV through the winter. This one, everything is reusable. And this is why I'm racking my brain on what components I'm going to use to corral the hoses and the pump and the generator, whether I'm going to do separate compartments for those, whether I'm going to do something and put them all in it, whether I'm going to link it up with the side of the trailer, or whether I'm just going to run like chimney tubing, double walled, so I could run it underneath the hay. I don't know. But running the generator all night, like, there's more benefit to get out of it than just the electricity that's coming out of it. Itself is warm, so it warms up the area around itself. Not to mention, it's blowing out exhaust that's warm. Like, that's enough heat that thing's creating and electricity to where it's running all night anyway, just to keep, the batteries from dying. So I might as well run all that stuff off of it. But it's going to be running like a lot of stuff that it hasn't been running, like those hoses and the pump. So there's 2 electric hoses, one that goes from the tank, and it's overkill, but what it does, it enables me to put a heated source both coming into the pump and going out of the pump. So I don't have to worry about, or else I'm going to have to leave the generator on in there 24/7 to keep the other end that's not a heated hose from freezing, and the pump, right? So my hopes is that those heated hoses will create enough heat by themselves to keep that all not frozen. And then there's going to be a pump inside the tank that circulates it, and that will keep the tank from freezing. Running all that stuff, though, that's where it gets kind of like I think I'm going to run the hoses off the trailer, because they just kind of have to have power all the time. Well, that means the trailer is going to be sucking more power, so I'm going to have to pay closer attention. I might have to, like cloudy days, night, whatever, have to run the generator more often. But then the pump, I think I'm going to only run it off the generator. So the pump will only be going at night, which I might have to change that up if that tank starts to freeze. But apparently if I keep that thing full, my chances of it freezing will be a lot less. But I mean, if it gets down below like freezing for weeks on end, everything freezes. That's why I gotta have that pump in there, because apparently if you're just pumping the water, it won't freeze to a certain level, I guess. So, all right, now I gotta go outside. Actually, 12 degrees is not that wicked, really. It's, yeah, I've been in colder. It'll be colder. Like snowboarding, I've been in like negative, like some crazy like amount. This is a little different. I'm standing here, fully geared up, snot nose dripping. Don't want to take off the boots because I have to go back out and plug the trailer in. I'm just letting the generator warm up before I plug it in, because if it's not warmed up before I plug it in, it will monkey with the electronics for like 5 minutes or so while it warms up. Literally the freaking, well, it died last night. It just couldn't keep up under load. It needed to warm up to where the warmth, and then it can take more gas and keep going. So it's warmed the underneath of the trailer up already 1 degree. Now for reference, the generator is pretty much just right outside the bathroom, so pointing directly towards the bathroom. The thermometer is out on that bedroom slide, in the very corner of the bedroom slide. So that's quite a bit of distance where it's already brought the temperature up. It's shooting in that direction though, but that's kind of the direction. Now this is going to benefit. I've been thinking like this is going to warm up my pipes, my gas pipes, because like I don't know if the heat's been coming through, like if those pipes are freezing up, and like this is going to be all kinds of benefits. Hopefully there's no downside, which, fire, explosion, those are the potential downsides. I mean, I got a propane tank wedged underneath the trailer being heated by a generator's exhaust. That's not really recommended, but sometimes you just have to do what you gotta do. There is a legitimate way I could be doing this exact same thing without the riskiness, which is what I'm gonna be building. Tonight's the exception. Hopefully tonight isn't the exception where I, did one of those foolish things, which we'll never see this video because everything will be exploded or burned up or whatever. But maybe not. I might wake up in the middle of the fire and be able to put it out, but like the trailer is like burnt open or something. I mean, it could be a nightmare. Hopefully not. I'll probably sleep like tonight though, worrying about it. I won't have to do this for the next 10 days. The temperature is just not this crazy for the next 10 days. So I have 10 days at least to build a situation that can do this exact same thing that I'm doing now, but with no danger, right? That's what we want. We want no danger. I do anyway. I'm not really a daredevil. I'm just a guy trying not to freeze to death with his cats. My nose is running and I've been talking for 4 minutes, so I think the generator's warm. It's time to go back outside. I don't want to do a bunch of this because it sheds, and then that is what could catch fire. So, oh, this is good. Everything vibrating is going downhill. That's a plus. These things are on the cold side of the trailer. Not the greatest. Yeah, look at all that ice on them. That one's completely empty. One tank freezes up, the other one, because they basically freeze up because of this condensing, something like that. So if it's used in one tank, even if it's cold, it'll still, the other tank could kick in because it's not, hasn't been condensing, so it's not as cold. And this is all wishful thinking. It seems to be doing okay. You know, it's doing okay right up until something explodes or catches fire, or yeah, so, but hey, that's the off-grid experience, yo. Living on the edge. Could die at any fucking moment. Cool. This is yet another update. The cold update. As you can see, I have a hoodie on. You know what that means? It's freaking cold. So it's kind of interesting. I put the generator down there. It was 22 degrees. It warmed it all the way up to 31 degrees. And then it dropped down to 29 degrees. And now it's worked its way back up to 32 degrees. The generator has just been pretty much going constantly now. The only thing I can think of, maybe it was like running a little more, like higher RPMs at the start. I don't know. Okay? But the bottom line is that I have never had my heater in this trailer just run. It turns on, it turns off, it turns on, it turns off. It has literally been on for hours. Excuse me. Kind of worries me a little bit. Like, just, I don't know if it's meant to just run and run and run and run and run and run and run. I mean, I guess if the air is coming in so cold, it's running, and it's getting colder in here. So it's dropped all the way down to 65. I try to keep this thermometer at 70. If this one's at 70, then the other room is generally at like 64, could be 66, could be 63. Yeah, I know this is all very, very fascinating stuff, but again, I'm just documenting my life. And this is my life right now. And right now I'm documenting what happens when it gets really cold. And then I'll be documenting how I react to all this. What do I do about this? Do I haul all this straw away from the trailer and head south? Or do I just probably just gonna keep doing stuff, right? So it's fascinating to me.